So Bones and I got accepted into a whole bunch of conventions this summer, so I thought I'd talk about how to prep for your first table at a comic convention or anime convention. I don't judge. Now the key to preparing for your first table is to start small. Because it's your first convention, you're going to be testing the waters to see how well your product sells. You're going to find out which of your prints sell best, which of your books sell best. It's very exploratory in your first table. So what I recommend is don't bring more than 5 copies, whatever you're bringing. So if it's prints, if it's buttons, t-shirts, whatever, don't make more than 5 copies for your first table. Because if you print, say, like 30 prints, you probably won't sell them all at your first con, or even your first con season. But if you make 5 copies and you sell out, that's perfect. You just make 10 for your next convention. It's better to sell out than to have to throw out old product down the line that you never got to sell. For one, that's a waste of money. But we're selling out, you make all your money back. For comics, I would say it's a good idea to have extra stock of them on hand. Maybe don't bring all of them to your first convention, but it's good to have because if you plan to do the comics, like the convention circuit, a whole bunch of times, it's good to have those books, and especially if you have a series where you're going to be printing more books of the series. It's good to have a decent inventory of that. Now, when you're getting everything printed and made or created, whatever, for your first con, make sure that you are writing down the cost of everything. You'll want to calculate how much you need to make back at the convention. So factor in your cost of making stuff, your hotel money, your travel money, your table costs, your food costs, because that's a big one that'll rack up quickly. Oh my god. So make sure to take note of that, because you'll have to make that back during the convention. That's how you can tell if this was like a really successful venture, and if the con is worth coming back to for one, or if maybe you need to change some things for next time. Knowing how much you need to make back in the weekend is also great, because it gives you a goal of how much you need to sell, and it'll really push you to get out there and sell your work and pitch your book to people. Like Bones and I usually hold competitions with like who can pitch to more people. And we usually have a benchmark every day of how many books we need to sell. And we divvy up like, at this con we need to sell 90 books to make back our table. So every day we like split it up evenly. All right, so the basic setup of your table. Honestly, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can set up your table. The most important part is to be eye-catching, but I'll just go through some different pieces of equipment that Bones and I use and why they're important to have. So one is a tablecloth. Now, for your first convention, you might not need one. Most convention places will provide you with a tablecloth, but it's good to have one if you're doing the con circuit, because some places won't give you a tablecloth, or they'll make you pay for a tablecloth. So it's good to have one if you're planning to do a big, long circuit of going to all the cons. But for your first one, maybe hang tight on that one. One that's really important is a stand or display for your prints or decorations. I've seen some people who will put together like pieces of plastic piping to make a big tall stand above them to sit behind their table that hangs prints. Bones and I have used creative cubes, which are just like these metal grates that clip together. You can find them at like Walmart. They're cheap and they're really handy and versatile. They're easy to travel with. But more recently, we got a photo backdrop stand, because it's a little less clunky looking than the creative cubes, because it's just like poles that you like stick up, and then you can clip things to the backdrop pole. And you want to get one of these displays because it'll show off your work to people, especially if, say, they're like across the room. They can probably see your prints because they'll be above your table. It's likely that you'll be dwarfed by other big displays. So it's good to have a nice, bright, tall display of your own. Another important one is book stands. You want to showcase your books and prints and whatever you're selling at eye level of the people walking by. It's kind of annoying for people to have to like bend over your table to look at everything on this flat surface. It'll be more eye-catching if your books are propped up. So I super recommend getting book stands. You can get them at the dollar store for like $1. Oh, make sure to get big boxes so you can transport your stuff. In the past, Bones and I have used suitcases because they're great. They have wheels on them. They're easy to bring around. You just tuck all your stuff away. So for your first convention, finding a big suitcase is probably your best bet because you probably won't be bringing too much product with you. More recently, Bones and I have gotten like these big cargo boxes because we've got this huge inventory now. But like a big piece of Tupperware will also work. Anything that's like stackable and easy to like put in a car. If you are getting these big pieces of Tupperware or big cargo boxes, make sure you get a rolling dolly so you can transport them. Suitcases are great because they have wheels already attached, but you don't want to be carrying these big, heavy boxes around between two people. Like Bones and I did that one year where we had these huge boxes but no wheels, and we had to carry these super heavy boxes like all around this huge convention center. It sucked. We were so tired and like our backs hurt. So make sure to get a dolly with wheels. Another great thing to have is bags and like backboards for your backing boards. It's good to get backing boards for your comics or your prints, and bags for customers to carry with them. It's nice. It keeps the stuff they're buying protected. And a lot of the times customers might not have a bag with them. So it'll be nice to have one so they can put all their sweet merch in it. And by bags, I mean you can get clear little like sandwich bags, or you can invest in tote bags, though maybe not for your first convention. Oh, make sure to bring business cards. Business cards are super important because people will pick them up even if they don't want to buy your stuff. A lot of the time, people will come around and just collect business cards of artists they like, so make sure you have one. You can get them really cheap from Vistaprint. I personally think it's okay to get cheap business cards to hand out at conventions, because a lot of the time, people are going to pick them up, probably don't look at them because they've got like 100 in their bag, and then throw them all out. So don't spend too much money making super fancy business cards. It's just to get your social media and your comic website to people who want to find it. Oh, also bring a sketchbook or some nice paper and some good like pencils or ink so you can sell commissions at your table, because you will make hella sweet bank with commissions because it's super personalized, they're easy for you to put out, and I've made so many friends selling commissions at conventions because I get people who will come back every year to get like a new commission from me, and we like catch up and we're best buds, and it's really fun. So bring a sketchbook and some nice drawing implements so you can sell those. And finally, at a convention, make sure you're comfy. Conventions are super draining. I think almost every year, Bones and I get really sick from traveling, from 12-hour work days, sometimes longer than that, long hours of standing, and, eating junk food because it's a con. That's kind of what you do. So a lot of the time we get sick or we come back to our hotel completely drained and tired, and our backs hurt, and it's a bad time. So, at your first convention, make sure you have lots of water and healthy snacks. It's super important to stay hydrated, guys. Trust me. You're going to be talking to a lot of people. Also, make sure to bring comfy chairs. So usually, conventions will provide you with like a folding chair, but they suck. Like, just objectively, they're terrible chairs. They are not ergonomic. They are stiff and horrible, and they'll hurt your back and your butt. So what Bones and I do is we usually bring these like folding canvas lawn chairs to chill in behind our table. Trust me, guys, it is the best thing we ever did. We were so comfy, our backs thanked us, and they were super easy to transport. Along the lines of, ergonomics, bringing a yoga mat for under your table, or for under where you'll be standing behind your table, is a great idea because a lot of the time at a convention, you'll be standing on concrete or tile, which can really hurt your feet and your hips and your back. So bringing like a yoga mat or something soft to stand on will really help you from leaving at the end of the day in pain. And finally, if you have a table partner, take turns resting versus selling. So have someone standing at the table, pitching your comic, selling your stuff, while the other person goes and takes a nap under the table, or sits and rests for a little bit, or goes for a walk around or something. Bones and I do this all the time. It keeps us from getting like cranky or from hurting ourselves. It's super tiring, like these conventions, especially the big, long conventions. They'll drive you crazy. So it's good to be able to step away from the table sometimes and take a little break. Like, I remember at Fan Expo a couple years ago, I think, Bones and I took turns like going back to the hotel to take naps because we were just so worn out by like Saturday. Get a buddy, like a helper or another artist who's a friend of yours, and just help each other out. So I hope that helps you guys plan for your first convention. They can be super scary, but they're also super fun. So go out there, do your best. Sell your stuff. You can do it. And that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions or if you'd like to request a video topic, please leave a comment down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Alrighty, goodbye!